everybody. This is Peggy Mercer's YouTube channel, and I am writing for love and maybe money, and that's the title of the YouTube program that I'm doing. I am trying my best to help you aspiring writers write your novel. I want you to be able to learn the details of writing a good novel, and I also want you to get excited about your book because I know it's going to be a good one. I hope you're taking notes, and I hope those notes are going to just really come in handy as you are writing your great American novel, and I believe that it will. Take notes. You'll forget what I'm saying if you don't. Now, I'll bring you up to where we are. The last few videos that I made were talking about the elements, the literary elements of writing a novel that have to be present in that novel for that novel to turn out like you want it to and just be a great American novel. Whether it's a love story, whether it's a psychological thriller, whether it's a mystery, whether it's one of those silhouette romances or harlequins. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Wouldn't that be fun? So anyway, we're actually talking about the scenes that we create as we go along and actually do the writing of the novel. I also have told you several times I believe in planning and I believe in structuring and sort of formatting out the novel so that you are never just saying, well, whatever will happen. I've heard so many people say, well, I just want my characters to just do what they want to do. That can't be, because if you're writing a mystery and they do something to get on Paula Deen's cooking show, well, I mean, you are going to write a mystery. You're going to have to write mystery scenes and scenes that go. If you're writing, for instance, a psychological thriller, then you're going to have to write scenes that fit into that category. I've told you all many times, a publisher is not going to be able to create a new category for you. So your novel does have to fit in there. It does have to. It does have to be a novel that they have a line of books that they're publishing that's like that novel. So we're talking about now moving this action we call rising action along so that it comes to about climbs up the mountain. We want this rising action to rise toward the culmination of the book, which is the peak or the climax of the book, because after that the action is going to fall, and so then you're going to have a different little bit of a different excitement to the writing as you go over the peak or the climax. So as we begin to create scenes that we write in this book, let's remember, if we can, those of us who were in journalism school, and I was in journalism school at the University of Georgia many moons ago, wasn't too far behind my friend there, Louis Grizzard, and he and I had a lot of lunches together and talking about our writing and stuff like that. I've had such a wonderful time with writers in my life. The fact is, when you are creating scenes that go into your novel, you think about your point of view or your narrator. Who is the narrator? Who is the one telling this story? Is your point of view first person? Is it third person? Does each character have a chapter, which is a good literary device that you can use in creating this book? Or does this one person, this one main character, does he kind of rule the show all the way through the book, and it kind of revolves around him? Well, we're going to talk about actually creating the scenes. Those of you who went to journalism school studied something we call the inverted pyramid. Write that down and look it up if you've never heard of it before. This is where journalists or news writers who write these news stories on TV. You see these anchors get up and talk about this breaking news story about Trump, of course, and we hope everybody's going to vote for Trump. And I know I am, because I'm sick and tired of $4 gasoline and $5 mayonnaise. But anyway, not to get off the subject, but to get off the subject just a wee little tiny bit. If I'm writing a novel and remembering my journalism days where I wrote using the inverted pyramid, you know what? All those details that we studied in that inverted pyramid for all this newspaper writing that we did over the years. I've written for Mother Earth Magazine. I've written for the Atlanta Journal and Constitution, the Georgia Florida Times Union back in the day, and some other magazines and newspapers. Had a real good time doing it. In my days writing, using the format called the inverted pyramid, I had to give the most crucial details first of all. First off, in my news story, I had to tell who it was, where it was, what they were doing, and that kind of thing, right to start with. So the information came in a descending order of importance. The real important stuff I unraveled first. That's kind of basically what you want to do in creative writing. I have to know who this story's about. I'd like to know something about their personality. But remember what my goal is. Remember what my main golden rule is. The rule in creative writing is show, don't tell. Show me, don't tell me. Just show me that she has long blonde hair because she's standing at the mirror brushing that hair. And you may say Ellen was standing at the mirror brushing her hair, which hung down to her waist or whatever. I don't want you to tell me on the first few pages, this girl is 5'6", like my friend Brenda, and she's standing there in a blue prom gown going to the prom with her future husband. And or you're saying this man was standing there with his Stetson cowboy hat on and a microphone in his pocket, and you tell me all about him to begin with. Don't do that in creative writing. I want you to unveil or reveal to me these characteristics as you go along. But I do have to have this information. I want to know who it is. I want to know where it is. In other words, I want to know the setting. I want to know what city it's in. Is it in Atlanta or New York? Are you out in LA going through the airport there? So I want to know the setting, and I want you to be able, one of the great tricks of the fabulous writers that we read today is that they write sensually. Now, I didn't say sexually. I said sensually. They write with their senses. They create these scenes so that you can. Have you ever heard a reader say, you know, I could just see that in my mind. I could just see it. It was so real. I've had so many people say that to me. It is a wonderful compliment when somebody tells you that they could see the scene in their mind. It was so real. You created it so vividly. I want my readers to be able to smell the scene. I want, if you're standing by, let's say the ocean. Let's say you're standing on the dock down there about to get a shrimp sandwich. I want you to be able to smell this, and when she or he bites down on this sandwich, I want you to be able to taste it. Now, that's called when the book starts coming alive. So as you create these scenes, these events, the main character rushes down to the dock, and he's standing there with his face in the wind, and he can feel this wind on his cheeks. I want that reader to be able to access that scene and relate to that scene, because just about all of us have been standing by the ocean. We can feel the wind against our cheek. I want you to feel the wind, smell the shrimp. I want you to hear the sounds, hear it. I want you to hear the sounds of the boats going by. If you're down on the Savannah, in Savannah, Georgia, maybe standing on River Street. My good friends Ov and Wendy Stoylan, the big, great European singer, were just in Nashville, and I had him drive down to Savannah, and he was so excited to get on a boat and go out to Cumberland Island and see the horses. I don't have it handy. In my novel, Another Island, Another Moon, they actually went out to Cumberland Island to see the horses in my novel, and that's just so thrilling to me. If you've never seen those horses, please go and see them. We talked a little bit about using and keeping handy the ideas in the inverted pyramid, and you're going to be able to reveal these as you go along and create your scenes. Now, you will have X number of chapters before you get to the peak and X number of chapters after you get to the climax of the book, and that's going to be the part of the fall in action. But right now, what I'm talking to you about is creating this rise in action. This is the great excitement. This is the adventure. This is the reading that the writer can really fall into, because she's going to have all these senses involved of the scenes that you're creating. Now, I will be back and talk to you a little bit more about devices that you can use to actually create your scenes, because I have some writers that have asked me and that have sent me these wonderful messages about my book, and they have these books. I have a writer from Tallahassee, Florida, and her name is Angela, and her grandmother bought my first novel, the romance that I showed you a few days ago, and I'm so thrilled to have her on board here. Hello, Angela, Donna, all of you, how are you doing today? And I love you all. I will be back on Monday, if not before. If I take a notion, I'll do another video. But we are talking about you doing a little research on that inverted pyramid and getting in your mind the details that you're going to be revealing as you go through the first part of your book and push the book forward with all this exciting, this rise in action. It's got to be exciting. Every chapter's got to be exciting. Every chapter about the same number of pages, and then you're going to stop and go into the next chapter. How do you keep the reader reading? How do you make them say, I couldn't put this book down? Look, I couldn't put this book down at all. I could not walk off from this book. And so what I had to do was I had to stay up all night and read the book. Appreciate you people coming. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. It's free. In a world where, like I said, mayonnaise is $5 a jar, and a loaf of bread that I really like, that Italian bread, and it's about $4.50 a loaf. I've never seen anything like it. So, yes, to make this really sweet today for those of you that just hate the sound of the name, I love Donald Trump. And I'm going to vote for him. So anyway, I'll be seeing you guys a little bit later on down the YouTube.